Hi, this is Barbara Gahn Mueller. Welcome to Peace Podcast, promoting healthy living, peace, and happiness. You know, what can we do today as we are facing the worst tragedy in my lifetime and maybe in the lifetime of everybody on the planet today? Can you imagine being healthy, at peace, and bringing happiness to your home as you are secluded away from your friends and all the things you're used to? Well, today you're going to get a ray of hope. You're going to hear from somebody. I have wanted to get on my Peace Podcast for so long. Do you know? We have been friends for over 30 years because she was in Santa Barbara. She helped me decide to marry Robert Mueller after he came to La Casa de Maria. She's an author, a poet. Her book, Gratitude Miracles, is my Bible. When I get down in the dumps, imagine Barbara Gahn Mueller being down in the dumps, I open up the gratitude journal and I begin to write. And all of a sudden, that smile that I used to have comes right back again. So without further ado, I just want to welcome Joyce Wycoff. Thank you for being here.
Oh, Barbara, thank you so much for inviting me. And you've put out this invitation for a long time. And I always thought, what would I say to Barbara's audience? Because you're such a champion of peace. And it's always been, as long as I've known you, it's like you've had this flag in the ground for peace. And, you know, it's one of those things that I think we know what it means, but it's one of those things that sort of expands and gets bigger as we think about it, because for lots of us, we know that it's more than just countries not going to war or not having conflict with your families or something like that. But what is it to really be peace and to live peace? So I've sort of resisted coming on here because I just didn't know what I would say. And finally, I thought I had something I wanted to talk about, because recently I decided that I wanted to write a 5-year plan. And at my age, 74, most people don't even buy green bananas. So why would they do a 5-year plan? So I really spent a lot of time thinking about that. And for anybody that's interested, there's 3 blog posts that kind of walk you through the process I went through. But this morning I woke up and I thought, that's not it. That's not what I want to talk to Barbara about. That's not what Barbara wants to talk to me about. We want to talk about peace. And so then I went back to, okay, if we're going to talk about peace, how am I going to define it? And it was, I swear, it was one of those 5 o'clock in the morning things that happens sometimes. It's a little gift, sort of like a little, you're the ringing the bell, the little angel. And it came to me that peace is a 2-sided coin. And on one side is gratitude. And I spent a lot of time thinking about gratitude. I wrote the Gratitude Miracles journal. But the other side is generosity. And I think this crisis that we're living through right now is such an opportunity to be generous, to show generosity to people who are really suffering at this time. And so that's what I wound up wanting to talk about, was how can we be more generous? And if we look at what's happened, you know, this has only been going on for a couple of months when we've really been deeply involved with it. And most of us have only been shut up, locked down, imprisoned, whatever we want to call this, for about a month, 4 weeks. You know, some of them is 5 weeks, but most of it's 4 weeks and some of it's even less. So in 4 weeks, we've seen the spectrum of human behavior and human
I call it kindness and
everything.
Yes.
And so we've had, you know, at the beginning of this, we had people driving U-Haul trailers up to stores and absolutely clearing the shelves out. And I don't know if they're, you know, parking all that toilet paper in their barns or if they're going to sell it and try to get rich. I don't know what's going on, but I think it's a function of fear, because when we're greedy, that's when we're operating from fear. And the only way we can be generous is to go back and be grateful for what we have. And I think what we're having now is the world slowing down enough. You know, lots of the factories are shut. There's cars are off of the streets. LA is now seeing the mountains day after day when we haven't seen them for years. The canals in Venice are clearing up. This, air over China is clearing up. Things are really happening. Animals are starting to come back to cities and to places where they haven't been for a long time. So we have an opportunity to do something really unique, and whether we'll take that opportunity or not is a big question still. We don't know what the outcome of this is going to be. But I think a lot of it depends on how we practice gratitude enough that we can then turn the coin over and practice generosity.
Joyce, I have to thank you for that. I think as I listen to you, I get the feeling the earth is healing. I get this feeling that as we are healing ourselves in this quiet downturn, when we can't just get in the car and go to McDonald's and have a hamburger, when we have to stay home and think, what am I going to have for dinner tonight? What do I have in the cupboard? I'm not going to be one of those people that run out and fill up my cupboards with toilet paper. I want to put my books in my cupboards. I want to put your book in there. I love her book. This woman, she's not an early author. She's a longtime author. She wrote the mind mapping journal mind mapping, what was it called? Mind mapping in you or something?
Mind mapping, your personal guide to problem solving. And I forget what all, it had one of those really long subtitles. So
I am in gratitude for this woman. I'm in Staples, and in Staples, I know Joyce, right? There's her book in Staples on mind mapping. And I'm thinking, I know a famous woman. And this is how she has taught me to solve my problems. I make a circle. In the middle, I put what is bothering me. Okay, I want to lose 20 pounds. So I just write it down and think, okay, the universe will help me. Well, what do I have to change to do that? What habits do I have that are soothing me, that are increasing my weight? What is it about me and my body and my universe? So her mind mapping book allows me to clear out everything that's in my brain. How allows me to come up with new solutions. So I put the first problem, and then I go to the next circle and I put solutions. This is what I'm going to do. Anyway, Joyce, I can't thank you enough, because this is National Poetry Month. And I read on Blog Loving Digest this morning the most incredible poem that you said is one of, are you doing a poem a day?
I'm doing a poem a day, and they're showing up on my blog, which is basically www.joycewycoff.com. And Mary Oliver's poem, The Journey, begins with this line that just blew me away years and years ago. And it goes, one day you finally knew what you had to do and began. And that line keeps, I've made art that has that line in it. And I made a tile out of it. It's over my sink right now. But the poem goes on, and it's like every refrain is one more thing, because it ends with, you finally knew that the only thing you could do, the only life you could was your own. That's not quite the way it goes, but that's what this is all about. We are the universe. We individually are the universe, and we are living together as this amazing connected combination of universes that turns out to be what we see every day. But we have to treat ourselves like we're important, like we are, everything that we do, everything we say, everything we think matters. And so on Facebook, can you imagine, to digress just a little bit, can you imagine going through this coronavirus time without social media? What would we have done? I mean, I don't think I could have, because we would have been completely uncertain. It's still a very uncertain time, but at least we hear what people are saying and thinking. So anyway, somebody today, because the government is going to send us a check, most of us a check in the next few weeks. And it's like, what do we do with that check? For some of us, it means we have to buy food, we have to, do the critical things of life. But some of us are so fortunate that money is just almost extra money, because if like I'm on Social Security, so my income isn't going to go down. So I'm going to get this check. What do I do with this check? And I'm asking people on Facebook, and somebody mentioned my mail carrier. And I thought, I haven't even thought about my mail carrier and the fact that he's risking his well-being to bring me mail every day. So I immediately stuck a $20 bill in an envelope and stuck it in my mailbox. And I thought, I mean,
Oh, Joyce.
it was like a light bulb went on and said,
Oh,
here's a place where you can help just a tiny little bit.
yes.
And that's what
You're
we
like
could all be
my
doing.
twin sister. Yesterday, I gave our trash man $20.
For
Why?
you.
He carried in my trash can because it was raining. He had plastic on his head to bring our trash. I said, Happy Easter, and gave him a $20 bill. Boy, did he put that in his pocket fast. I bet your mail carrier too.
Yeah,
Joyce, we're talking about kindness here.
we are
Kindness. We're
yes.
talking kindness. And Mary Oliver's poem made me cry because I really feel like I am older than you, Joyce. I'm your elder. And I
Yeah,
am learning that age is nothing but attitude.
right.
People say to me, wow, you don't look so old. And I said, thank you very much. But I really appreciate that I am at peace. That's why
Right.
I smile. That's why I don't look like as old as I am, because I know that peace is good for the body. But I have to work at it. I can't tell you I didn't put a whole bunch of powder on today and all the other good stuff. But that's beside the point. The
Right.
point is, my friends are my lifeblood. Joyce is my friend. I know I can call her up any time of night or day, and she will say, it's just like we were together yesterday. And I hope your friends are also helping you through this. I said, I was on a phone call this morning with somebody from Norway, and I said, you know what? This virus is bringing the world to me. You
Yes.
called me from Norway to wish us happy Easter. This virus is bringing you to me because of the phone, fax. I used to say phone, fax, and Federal Express. Now I say Zoom, Facebook, and my webpage.
Right.
Isn't it true?
It
But
is.
you have to go to Joyce's websites. This woman is an artist. I go there and I practically burst into tears of smiling and so joyful. Her art. My son brought me some of her art. This beautiful. I don't even know how she does it, but the colors that she uses. Just go to JoyceWycoff.com. Is that correct, Joyce?
That is right. And one of my favorite pieces of art I made in Barbara's house, because Barbara surrounds herself with orchids and they're so beautiful. And she has, this woman has been beautiful since day one. And so
Thank you.
she had a beautiful portrait that I forgot the artist. It was some fairly well-known artist had done of you. And so I take pictures of everything. And so I took pictures of all these orchids and pictures of Barbara's portrait and wound up making a combined piece of art out of it. That's just one of my very favorite things because it's so beautiful, because you're so beautiful.
Thank you. And I think beauty comes from within.
It
And
does,
I
yeah.
look at you and I see a beautiful woman, and I've always thought you were there. And you're brave. You're not only beautiful, you have the other B word, brave. This woman, she left everything and went to Mexico. I said, how did you do that, Joyce? How did you do that, Joyce? Was it a calling?
Well, and Mexico was such a gift. Mexico is a beautiful country. The people are beautiful. I had amazing experiences. And the thing that was really surprised me was how much I wanted to come back to the US. We've had 3 or 4 years now of pretty tough stuff. You've divided people around politics and religion and issues and everything. But I wanted to come back and be part of helping to come back together. And I think this virus might do that. It may, another thing I read this morning was talking about we don't grow in times of prosperity and no challenges. We grow from challenges, and it shows who we are, and it gives us choices. And right now, every one of us has a choice of how we will live through this virus, how we will help people come back together, how we'll put our minor differences aside, because the major things that we have in common are far bigger than the things that we have differences for. And so this is it's a pregnant moment, to use a
Oh,
cliche, but
isn't
it
it the
is.
truth? Isn't it
Yeah.
just the truth? I'm looking at Joyce Wycoff. Aren't we lucky she finally said yes? You know, I really believe timing is everything. It wasn't time for Joyce to be on Peace Podcast before. Her wisdom is just bursting out of the seams of her body, because you can hear that she has lived her life. She didn't go in the closet in New Mexico or Mexico. She got out and she learned Spanish, and she took pictures, and she would send me these incredible photos and these incredible poems. And when she came back, she came to realization that this is where she wants to be. And that's what I believe. I am where we need to be. I truly believe that. Each of you who are listening to this Peace Podcast for peace, happiness, and healthy living, you are exactly where you need to be. You are exactly who you should be. Just remember to smile as you go along your path, because it's so contagious and somebody might need it. So, Joyce, we're about at the end of this 15-minute podcast, and I could go on and on. And thank you for the art you bring to the world. Thank you for the word. She says things like nobody else. Like, listen to this. This morning when I was reading her blog about Mary Oliver, she said she was the most influential person in my life. This poem by Mary Oliver, this is how she talks. Well, I put Joyce in the category of the most influential people in my life. She has helped me take care of myself. She has helped me write my words of gratitude and generosity. We both kind of had that twin moment, which I didn't expect. I just love you, Joyce. And so, Joyce, let's have you give us a dream for the world or a poem, anything you want to end this podcast with. It's yours. I love you.
Thank you, Barbara, and I love you too. You have been such an inspiration for so much of my life. And every time I started to do something, you were always there saying, yes, this is right, go for it. And I thought I would share sort of the bottom line of this whole idea of doing a 5-year plan, which actually turned into a 5-year question. But the words that I found at some point in this process that sort of woke me up was because I was looking at all of these qualities I wanted to put into my life. And I'm way past the wanting fancy cars or bigger houses and all this stuff. I just want, some of this, I want peace. It all adds up to peace. But the words that I said that surprised me is, this is who I am. So when I think about generosity, and why am I generous, and how am I generous, or gratitude, or any of these things, it comes down to, this is who I am. And I think these words are for all of us. Anything that we aspire to is already in us. And we just have to choose to let that come out. And it's so easy when you think I'm out walking, because I love to walk out in nature, especially, but anywhere. And I'm walking along and I'm thinking, I want delight in my life. And the words come that I have delight in my life because this is who I am.
Oh my gosh.
And
This
it
is
just,
who I am.
yeah.
This is who I am. And I remember reading your 5-year plan, and you said, it's the questions I ask. It's the
Right.
questions,
Right.
not the answers. It's the questions. And you just did it there with the light.
Right. And delight turned out to be my big word. And it made me laugh because I like the word delight. I think it's a very delightful word. But all of a sudden I deconstructed it and it became delight, like the light. Delight is things that bring the light into my life. And so my question was, how can I fill my life with delight?
As we are listening to Joyce Wycoff, I feel like this is a spiritual moment, a moment when we're finding the essence of this woman, this beautiful woman who I have had in my life, lucky me, for over 30 years. And as we listen to her wisdom, I want you to sit down and share your wisdom with your family during this time. Share what you know. My late husband, Dr. Robert Mueller, Joyce knew very well. And he would always say, don't die with your wisdom of encyclopedia of wisdom inside of you. Put it out there. Joyce does that every day. She wakes up and she's doing art and she's writing. And every time I get a blog from her, I mean, people are picking up her blogs and repeating them because they're so powerful. They're so full of Joyce. I hope that what you do in your life is full of you. Share who you are. There's nobody else like you on the planet. You know, the chances of anybody else even being close to you are just zero. So be the best you can be. And remember, we're listening to peacepodcast.org. I'm Barbara Gahn-Mueller, a happy host today because I got to talk to Joyce Wycoff. Joyce, do you have one last word for us?
Only thank you, Barbara, for all that you do. And it has been my delight to be here.
It's my delight to say thank you, listeners. Have your friends join you and you watch this. Do a little watch party. Put this on your computer. Invite 3 people to watch it with you on their computers, because you know we can't get too close, 8 feet apart. I always feel like I'm better to be 8 feet apart than 8 feet under. So I'm going to be very, very careful, very, very careful. And this is Barbara Gahn-Mueller. Share a laugh with somebody you love. Use Zoom. Let your friends see how cute you are. Let your friends hear your wisdom. I love you, Joyce. Thanks for being on.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Over and out for now. Join us next week for a second and maybe a third opportunity to meet with Joyce. Thanks, Joyce.